We're live, we're live, we're live. All praises. First, I want to give all praises and the glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakak, Kadash, and double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who are leading this word in truth, in spirit, and sincerity. And salutations to all the righteous Hebrew Israelite brothers out here that are teaching this word in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak, Kadash. Shalom to the hopeful elect of Israel. All praises and glory to the Akiams and to the Akwas, which are the brothers and sisters out there that are able to receive this word in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Shalom to the hopeful elect of the house of Israel. Kwam Yasharallah. All praises. As you can see, today's edification is called the place of judgment. The place of judgment. That's today's edification. Right? The place of judgment. So where is that place? Where is that place of judgment that the Most High is coming to bestow his judgment on all the nations? On the 2/3 of the wicked house of Israel, on the 2/3 of these people here, and all the nations, and on the wicked, who the Bible speaks of called Esau Edom. Right? Now, I'm going to start in Ecclesiasticus chapter 1. Right? Ecclesiasticus chapter 1, we're going to start in verse, we're going to start at the very top. Ecclesiasticus chapter 1 verse 1. It says, the words of the preacher, the son of David. So who is the preacher? Who's the son of David? That's Solomon. That's King Solomon. He is the preacher. He is the son of David. All right? King in Jerusalem, who was once upon a time king in Jerusalem. All right? He was king of all of the 12 tribes of Israel. He was king of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar. Just like how his father was. Verse 2. It says, vanities, vanities, says the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. So all what we see in this world today basically is vanity. And it's based on vanity. Everything that we see today is based on vanity. Right? All is vanity. Because it's all going to come to a cataclysmic end. All of this society, this rulership. Not the world, just this rulership. It's all going to come to a cataclysmic end. Right? It says, what profit has a man of all his labor, which he taketh under the sun? So all what you see Esau laboring right now for to do, in this world, in this kingdom, in his kingdom, all that he's building up around the world, all that he is doing, is all going to come to an absolute end. It's all going to come to an end. And it's going to be brought to an end by who? By the Son of the Most High, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So when Solomon says vanity, vanity, all is vanity, because all is vanity. All what we see around here, we live in a world that's built on total vanity. It's all based on vanity. All is vanity. Vanity, vanity, all is vanity. And it's all going to come to an absolute stop. So when we talk about the end, we're not talking about the end of the world, because the world is not coming to an end. Just the rulership of this world is coming to an end. Not the world itself, just the rulership. So it says all is vanity. It says one generation passes away and another generation cometh. Yeah. But the earth abideth forever. You hear that? This is Solomon speaking. One generation passes away and another generation cometh after. But the earth abideth forever. So the earth is always going to be here. So when you hear the talk within the Christian church, when they say, oh, the whole world is going to be destroyed, the world is not going to be destroyed. Just the rulership of this world is going to be destroyed. Big facts. Shalom, bro. Shalom. All right? Just the rulership. That's why it says the world abideth forever. Forever. The rulership of this world is coming to a total end. So who rules the world right now? Who is the rulers of the world right now? It's the beast in his system. It's Esau, the Edomites. They are the ultimate rulers of the world right now. All right? So we're going to jump down to verse 9. It says, the thing that has been. So we're still in the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 1, verse 9. All right? So listen to Solomon. Listen to King Solomon. It says, the thing that has been it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. So everything we see happening today is not new. There is no new thing under the sun, nothing at all. The thing which has been is that which shall be. So the things that have been before us, those are the things that's going to be here today. That which is done, the thing that is done, is that which shall be done. So the things that have been done are going to be done again today. There is no new thing under the sun. None. Zero. No new thing under the sun. So says the Lord. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? No. There's no new idea. There's no new philosophy. There's no new type of rulership. There's no... Listen, even this new world order that's coming into place, it was done, it was brought into place, so it was already tried already under who? Alexander the Great and his 4 generals, especially Antiochus. So there's no new thing under the sun. The Romans ruled 2/3 of the known world at the time. So everything you see the Edomites doing today, they've tried before. Except in these times, we all now live in the 4 corners of the world. So during the times of the Romans did what? The Romans were able to rule 2/3 of the known world. Today, the Edomites are looking to rule the whole world. So which they have. So they have rulership over the whole world global system today. It says there, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? The answer is no. It has already been of old time, which was before us. So Solomon's making it clear to you, is there anything which may be said, it's of new? The answer is no. It's already been of old time. So everything you see them trying today, they've tried it once before. The only difference between when they tried it back in the ancient times, in the times of the Romans, the Greeks, the Babylonians, the only difference is today they have the technology to do all of that, the complete technology to bring in this new world order. That's what they have today. They have technology today, but there is no new thing under the sun. It's of old times. So this is why we don't fear what we see Esau bringing upon the world in terms of his new world order, his rulership. Because he's already tried it before. He tried it under the Romans and he tried it under the Greeks. And they're going to try it today in these last days because there is no new thing under the sun. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. So that goes back into reincarnation. When we say those same people that tried that rulership, that tried to bring in a new world order back in the times of the Greeks, under Alexander, back in the side of the Romans, are here today. They are here today in the reincarnation. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that come after it. So that perfectly explains to you, the Bible speaks about reincarnation. There is no remembrance of former things. Today we call that deja vu. You go somewhere and you think, I've been this place before, but you have no remembrance of it. There is no remembrance of former things. So those same people are here today, just like how the prophets are here today. There's no different. Remember what the angel said to John the Revelator, right? I'm going to just kind of go straight to the point. What the angel said to John the Revelator. So this is what he said. Revelation chapter 10. It's quite windy out here today. Just so you know. This is what the angel said to John the Revelator, right? Revelation chapter 10, verse 8. So listen carefully, right? Revelation chapter 10, verse 8. It says, and the voice which I heard from the heaven spake unto me again, and said, go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel, which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it. That little book is the scriptures, is the Bible. What we're reading out of now. This is the little book that the angel was speaking of to John the Revelator. Give me and take it, this little book, right? So he said, and he went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in his mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter, because now the angel was showing John the Revelator all these things that were going to take place in the future. That little book is the Bible, right? And he says unto me, Thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. So the angel said unto John the Revelator, Thou must prophesy again, right? Before many nations and kings, right? And peoples and tongues. So John the Revelator didn't live for 2,000 years. He's not like, spent 2,000 years walking the earth. It's because he's back here today in the reincarnation. John the Revelator is back here today in the reincarnation. That's why the scripture says he must prophesy again, which means he had to come back again to do that prophesy. And do what? Before many kings and nations and peoples and tongues. So he said he's got to prophesy again, which means he's here today. Here today how? In the reincarnation. It's simple for you to understand. In the reincarnation is here today. So let's go back to Ecclesiasticus. So we're going to jump down to verse 14. Ecclesiasticus chapter 1 verse 14. It says, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun. So the Most High has seen all the works that is done under the sun. So what's under the sun? The earth is under the sun. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun. And behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. So Solomon's saying, all is vanity. The Lord has seen all the works done under the sun. But all is vanity and vexation of spirit. So all what Esau is doing in building and establishing his kingdom, his rulership, implementing his laws, robbing, stealing, murdering, pillaging, raping, all that Esau has done is vanity and vexation of spirit. Why? Because ultimately the Most High is coming to take all of that away from him. Everything has its due course. See, everything has to run its due course. And the rulership today has reached its due course. It's come to its end. They know it. The elites know it. The super elites know it. It's only your average John Doe that's walking the streets don't realize that it's all come to an end. This rulership is coming to its end. It says, that which is crooked. Who did the Most High create crooked? The Edomites. That which is crooked cannot be made straight. This man cannot be made straight. He cannot be made whole. He cannot be made righteous because he was created to be crooked. He was created to be the wicked. There's nothing that anyone can do that can change who this man is, what values he holds. Nothing that anybody can do to change that. So it says that which is, so Ecclesiasticus chapter 1 verse 15, right? That which is crooked cannot be made straight. And that which is wanting cannot be numbered. And he is 100% wanting, right? Ecclesiasticus chapter 3. Ecclesiasticus chapter 3 verse 15. It says, that which has been is now, right? And that which is to be has already been. And the Most High requires that which is past. So that which has been is now. Just so you understand. And that which is to be has already been. And the Most High requires that which is past. So he requires all of the crimes that these Edomites have done, what they consider to be the past, he requires that again. Can't escape that. They can't escape that. That which has been, and moreover, verse 16, Ecclesiasticus chapter 3, verse 16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment. So what's under the sun? The earth is under the sun. We are under the sun. So the scripture says, moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment. This is the place of judgment. That wickedness was there. Is not wickedness all throughout the earth? And I saw moreover the place of judgment. That what? That wickedness was there. So this is the place that's under the sun. This is the place where the Most High is coming to bring that judgment. And he's sending his son. It's his son that he's sending, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, whose name is Yahweh Shai, to bring that judgment. Because this is the place under the sun. So it says, and moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. So the righteous that are here today are who? Are the elect, are the chosen of Israel. Wickedness was there, righteousness was there, but also iniquity is there. This whole world is filled with iniquity. Completely filled with iniquity. This whole world. It's not some place far off, some other place, some magical place that they called hell. It's here. This is the place of judgment. The earth is the place of judgment. Amen. And I said in my heart, the Most High shall judge the righteous and the wicked. So he's coming to judge the righteous. Who are the righteous? The Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. And the wicked. Who are the wicked? The Edomites. Why is he coming to judge the righteous? Because 2/3 of the righteous, of the chosen, are not going to accept this truth. So they have to be judged alongside the wicked. The wicked. The wicked are who? Are the Edomites, who masquerade around the world, call themselves Caucasians and Europeans. The so-called white man. That is the wicked that the Bible speaks of. As a nation. Remember, he's coming to judge them as a nation. He says, I said in my heart, the Most High shall judge the righteous and the wicked. For there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. So there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. And the works of the Most High is going to be revealed to the world very soon. That judgment is coming very soon upon the world. And many people are not going to be prepared or ready for it in any form or shape. Just so you understand. So let me go to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 4. Because we're going to go into that judgment. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 16. This is going hard today. Proverbs chapter 4. You know what? Alright, I know where I'm going. Proverbs chapter 4. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 14. It says, enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not into the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. Right? See what Solomon is telling you. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief. For the wicked sleep not, unless they have done mischief. So they don't feel good or right in themselves unless they have done mischief. So we know these Edomites, it's the cornerstone of their kingdom, is that they went and created mischief in the four corners of the world to build this kingdom which they have today. So they sleep not lest they have done mischief, right? And their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. You hear that? So their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. So they're not satisfied. They don't sleep good unless they know they've committed a wicked act. And from that wicked act, many people have fallen from that wicked act. They will not sleep good unless they've committed a wicked act, an act against a certain people. I say again, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 16. For they, the wicked, right, sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness. That's what they do. They eat the bread of wickedness, right? And drink the wine of violence. So, I mean, who else could that be talking about? Really, seriously. For they eat the bread of wickedness and they drink the wine of violence. Those are your Edomites, our modern day Europeans. They eat the bread of wickedness and they drink the bread of violence. That's what they do. That's how they got to rule the world. I mean, that's simple 1 and 1, right? It says, but the path of the just is the shining light. So who are the just? The just are the elect of Israel. What is the shining light? The scriptures. This is the shining light. So the path of the just is the shining light. That shines more and more upon the perfect day. The way of the wicked, which are your Edomites, I can't stop saying this. The way of the wicked is as darkness, and they know not at what they stumble. And they know not at what they stumble, because they committed their worst crimes and atrocities and wickedness on who? On the 12 tribes of Israel. On these people here. That's what they did. They committed their worst crimes and injustices on these people here, on the 12 tribes of Israel. So, the scripture says, the way of the wicked is as darkness. Right? So the way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. They know not at what they stumble. But they're going to know when the judgment comes. When the Most High sends his Son to perform the judgment on the nations. That's when they're going to know. They truly don't know at what they stumble, boy. But that judgment is coming for them. Psalms. We're going to go to Psalms chapter 7. Psalms chapter 7, verse 9. It says, Oh let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end. So we know that the wickedness of the wicked is coming to an end. Right now they're on a timer. A literal timer they're on. So it says, Oh, let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end. How is it going to come to an end? Through Yahushai. Through Yahushai, right? But establish the just for the righteous Most High tries the hearts and the reins. So the wickedness of the wicked is going to come to an end. But establish the just. The just is going to be established, right? Because the kingdom of heaven is going to be established on earth. So the just is going to be established. For the righteous powers tries the hearts and reins. My defense is of the Most High, which saveth an upright in heart. The Most High judges the righteous. Right? Listen carefully. Psalm chapter 7, verse 11. The Most High judges the righteous. And the Most High is what? Is angry with the wicked every day. So he's angry with the Edomites every day. He's angry with Esau every day. The Most High judges the righteous, but he is angry with the wicked every day. Every day. So this is what I tell you. When the judgment comes, that place of judgment is here upon the earth. When the judgment comes, there's going to be so much uproar. So much. And that's when they're going to realize. So how is the judgment coming? So the judgment is coming to one of the most wickedest places on the planet Earth. One of the most wickedest places on the planet Earth is where? Is Babylon the Great, right? Babylon the Great, aka the United States of America, aka Edom, spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt, symbolically known as Idumea, symbolically known as Assyria, symbolically known as the daughter of Babylon. America has many names in the Bible. This is the most wickedest of all the wickedest places on the planet Earth. It's that place called the United States of America. So, ask yourself this. This is the $6 million question today. The scriptures prophesies about all of the great kingdoms of the world. It prophesies about the Persians and the Medes. The Bible prophesies about the Neo-Babylonian Empire, the times of Nebuchadnezzar. The Bible prophesies about the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great. The Bible prophesies about the Roman Empire, right, under the Caesars. The Bible speaks about the Byzantine Empire. So how is it that the greatest empire on the earth, the United States of America, how can it be that that's not prophesied in the Bible? Are we saying that the Most High, when he gave the angels, the messengers, to bring to the prophets, when he gave them the prophecies of the future, when he spoke about the great kingdoms of the world, that somehow the Most High forgot about the United States of America, the greatest kingdom ever built? Somehow. Is that what we're saying? So how can America not be in the Bible? How can the greatest kingdom of this world not be in the Bible? What, did the Most High get it wrong? Did he somehow, when he was writing the script for the future of the prophecy, somehow he got it wrong? Oh, he just forgot about America? America's not in the Bible? The greatest kingdom ever built? We have the Babylonian kingdom in the Bible. We have the Persian and the Medes in the Bible. We have the Assyrian kingdom in the Bible, the Assyrians. We have the Egyptians in the Bible. We have the Greeks in the Bible. We have the Romans in the Bible. We have the Byzantine Empire in the Bible. But somehow the Most High forgot about America. Are you kidding me? So, when we're talking about wickedness, the most wickedest place on this planet Earth is where? Is the United States of America. Why? Because it has the power to perpetrate its wickedness in all sorts of ways. Whether it's military, economically, it has the power to do that. And everyone has to follow lock, stock, and barrel. So it's lock, step, lock, step, lock, step. They have to follow in the same pattern. They cannot do not what they say. So let's go to it. Is America in the Bible? Is Babylon the Great in the Bible? That's what we have to ask ourselves. For we know it is. We understand that the daughter of Babylon is in the scriptures. But you go into one of those Christian Catholic churches, somehow America's not written in the Bible. But if you ask them, who is this place called Babylon the Great? They don't know. And then they're going to start referring to ancient Babylon, the Neo-Babylonian Empire under Nebuchadnezzar. That's what they're going to tell you, because they don't have an answer. They can't tell you why, but they're just going to tell you that's what it's talking about. Oh, it's blowing heavy today. Wind is blowing heavy today. Isaiah, the book of Isaiah. Woo. Family, that wind is blowing heavy today. wind is blowing heavy today. We want to blow down the sign. But don't worry, man, the Lord will keep it going. So, let's go to the book of Isaiah. And let's see what Isaiah says about this place called Babylon, all right? This place of wickedness. Woo! This place of wickedness that's under the sun. Wow. Really going today, boy. So I've got this down there to weigh it down. That's why we've got these books, the scriptures on there, the Bible on there to weigh it down, because it's blowing kind of heavy today, the wind, very heavy today. And we're going to go for it. We may not be out here as long as we would like to today because of the winds are really heavy today. So let's bring it out while we're here. Right. So we're going to go through, we're going to go into Isaiah. We're going to go to Isaiah chapter 13. And we're going to bring it straight out. All right? The book of Isaiah chapter 13. It says the burden of Babylon. And we're going to start at the top. So Isaiah chapter 13 verse 1. So we're going to find out if the greatest empire in the world is not in the Bible. Who is this place it's speaking of? This is what we're going to find out today. All right? The greatest empire of the world. Isaiah chapter 13 verse 1. It says the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Now, as we know, Isaiah is one of the most greatest prophets in the scriptures. He prophesies about ancient Babylon, modern Babylon. Ancient Assyria, modern Assyria, which is America. Ancient Egypt, modern Egypt, which is America. Just like Jeremiah. So Isaiah chapter 13 verse 1, we'll start at the top again. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exhort the voice unto them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. All right? So this is what we are doing. We are lifting up our voice like a banner. Shake the hand that we may go into the gates of the nobles of the elites of Babylon the Great. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones from mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. So he's going to muster the hosts of the battle, which are all of the other nations that he's going to bring up against Babylon the Great. So the Most High, right now, through his angels, is putting the spirit on all of these other nations and mustering them up, getting them ready for this great battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. So what is the Lord mustering up these nations to do? To draw their weapons, to fire them against Babylon the Great. And what weapons are we talking about? We are talking about ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Those are the weapons of the Most High's indignation. The scripture says, if we go to, we're going to bring out a precept here, right? But it says they have come from a far country, from the end of heaven, right? Even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. So when it says they've come from a far country and from the end of heavens, because intercontinental ballistic missiles have to go out into the atmosphere, the fuselage breaks up bit by bit, and then it re-enters the atmosphere before it hits its target. And remember, the nuclear weapons, they have warheads, multiple warheads on each nuclear weapon. So some of them have 12 warheads, some have 8 warheads, some of them have 4 warheads. So those warheads, when they come off the nuclear weapons, they go and hit their targets. So these are the weapons of the Lord's indignation. So the precept for that is Isaiah chapter 9 verse 5. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise. So every battle of the warrior is with confused noise. Why is that? Because all recent battles that we have, they were fighting hand to hand. So you go back to the days in the ancient times with swords and shields and knives, and then you come up to World War I, World War II. They had guns and, they were using their bayonets, kill each other, rifles and guns. Men were fighting each other in the battlefield. So every battle of the warrior is with confused noise. Every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, because it was hand-to-hand combat. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. But this battle, this last battle that's coming, the battle of all battles, the war of all wars, this shall be with what? But this battle shall be with burning of fuel of fire. How is that burning of fuel of fire going to take place? Through nuclear destruction. Through a nuclear destruction. This last battle that the nation, remember, I've said this before and I say again, it will start as a conventional war. Missiles, tanks, drones, RPGs, soldiers on the battlefield, snipers. It will start as a conventional war. But then it's going to finish. It's going to finish as a complete nuclear destruction. That's how this battle is going to finish. It's going to start as a nuclear war, then it's going to finish completely as a nuclear. It's going to start as a conventional war, then it's going to escalate to a nuclear war. So this battle shall be what? But this battle shall be with burning and fuel of fire. And that fuel of fire is going to be the nuclear weapons that they're going to fire on each other. So when we go back to Isaiah 13, and it says here, they shall come from a far country. So the intercontinental ballistic missiles shall come from a far country. And what country is that? Mainly Russia. Mainly Russia they're going to come from. But they're also going to come from China, North Korea, Iran. They're also going to come from where? From America's European allies, its NATO allies. So the beast, which is the NATO allies, they are going to turn against Babylon the Great America, and they are also going to fire their weapons on America. So they're going to come from far. They're going to be coming from Europe. They're going to be coming from Iran. They're going to be coming from Russia. They're going to be coming from China. But most of the nuclear weapons that are going to be fired on America, the nuclear missiles, are going to come from Russia. They're going to come from one end of heaven to the other. Into the atmosphere, out the atmosphere, down again, into their target. Verse 6, it says, Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. Amen. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. It's going to come as a destruction. It's not going to come as hugs and kisses and roses. It's going to come as a destruction from the Almighty. And this is what they don't realize, you see. What your Christian churches are preparing you for is a hugs and kisses reunion. It's like a school reunion. The Christian church that don't understand the Bible are preparing you for a school reunion, a college reunion. What the Bible is preparing you for, what the brothers that are teaching this word in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai are preparing you for, is a destruction from the Almighty. Who is the Almighty? The Most High. Who is he sending to bring this destruction? His Son. But first he's going to use his angels, the Most High's loyal angels, including Satan, to put the spirit on the nations around the world to fight this battle, to instigate this war, to start this war. First, that's what he's going to do. His loyal angels, he's going to instigate to fight, to instigate this war by putting the spirit on the nations to go to war. So when the scripture says howl, It doesn't say hugs and kisses, loves, roses, and white Jesus is coming. No, 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 no. The scripture says, howl, howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction, not hugs and kisses, as a destruction from the Almighty. Who is the Almighty, the Most High? Yahweh, who the world calls God. Who is he going to use to do it? His son Yahushai. Isaiah 54 verse 16. Let's get a precept. Oh, Isaiah boy. Isaiah 56. Verse 16. Isaiah 54 verse 16. Let me correct myself. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 16. It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. All right? Who is the smith? The smith is the man that makes the weapons of war. So when we read Isaiah 9 and 5, and it's... So when we read Isaiah 9 and 5, when it spoke about, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, right? The smith was the one that made those weapons for the battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. That's the smith. He's the man that works and makes those weapons of war. So the smith today, today's modern smith are who? Your scientists. Today's modern smith is. Today's modern smith is your scientist. Right? Today's modern smith is your scientist. So it says here, Isaiah 56, bit of raindrops coming down, but we're under a tree, so we might be all right. We'll see how it goes, see if it comes down heavy. It's starting to rain, family, but we're under a nice, lovely, big tree here. I might say oak tree, and we'll see how it goes, yeah? So it says, behold, I have created the smith, which is the modern day scientist, that bloweth the coals in the fire, right? And that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. So I've created the smith, which is your modern day scientist, that blows the fires in the coal. So today he's blowing the fires in the laboratory, where he experiments and creates all of these weapons of war, right? And that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. So, the waster to destroy is what? Are the weapons that they have created. Your intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's the waster to destroy. Whoa, that rain is starting to come down. Let's see how it goes. A little bit of rain there. Let's see how it goes. We're under a tree. We might be alright. Starting to fall down, you might be able to see a little bit of it. Whoa, maybe not. Whoa, yeah, it's starting to flow down. Let me see if we can shut this down a bit. Alright, family, that rain is coming down heavy, family. Yeah, coming down heavy. I've got an umbrella here, 1 second, see if we can fix this up. I've got an umbrella to put on here. Set the camera. That's alright. Let me just put this over. We can protect the camera. 1 second, family. So we've got a little umbrella I can use to protect the camera. See if we can. Woo. Just see. It might just be a short burst. I'm watching the cloud go past. Let's just see. All right. So that way I can protect the camera. It's a little umbrella I can use to protect the camera. Not too bad underneath here. So do that. Come on. Yeah, it's blowing. The wind is blowing. The rain is coming. Let's see. I can stand it for a bit. 1 second, family. So lucky. You in there. Come on. Yeah. We might have to shut this down. Let me just see. The wind is blowing heavy. Might be alright. Hold on. We might be alright. We might be alright. So lucky, family. 1 second. Let's see if we can get this all sorted. It might have stopped now, the rain. We'll take this off. We might be alright. These phones are meant to be waterproof anyway. Let me just take this down. That was kind of weighing everything down. We might have got through the worst of it. We might have got through the worst of it. Yeah. So lucky for that, we might have got through the worst of it. That cloud is passing over. So let's see while we're here. So, where was we? Ezekiel, Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 16, right? That's where we was. So we go back, we just rehash what we said. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, which is your modern day scientist, and that bringeth forth an instrument and a work. And I have created the waster to destroy. So the waster to destroy is the nuclear weapon, is your ICBMs, right? Intercontinental ballistic missiles. Let me just bring this up a little bit. That's it. So the waster to destroy is your intercontinental ballistic missiles. All right, just so you understand. We're going to go back to Isaiah 13. Let's finish it off. Right, the sun's coming back out again a little bit. So it says, verse 6. So Isaiah chapter 13, verse 6. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. Right? It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. So Isaiah says, therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Why? Because of the devastation that's going to come from this war. Why? Because America, Babylon the Great, is going to be totally destroyed by nuclear fire. Remember, the nuclear weapons that are going to be fired on America is going to begin the destruction of America. The Lord himself, Yahweh Shai, and the angels are going to complete the destruction of Babylon the Great, of America. They're going to complete. The angels in the chariots are going to complete the total destruction of America. But the Lord is going to put the spirit on the nations, on America himself, to go to war with all of the other nations in this upcoming war of Armageddon. So all hands shall faint. They're going to be terrified. They're going to be running. They're going to be, you see, all of this scorning and scoffing that you see going on when it comes to this word, all of this propaganda that they bring up against us and trying to defame us and, you know, trying to associate us with those so-called, you know, what do they call them? Those like those black, forget the name of the groups that they call them, like those Black Lives Matter groups that are protesting and marches. It's going to be of no avail, none at all. Their hearts are going to melt when they realize that what we've been prophesying, according to scripture, is going to come to pass. They truly are. When they see their cities are being destroyed by nuclear weapons, things that they could never imagine. You see, right now they can't imagine their beautiful cities, you know, what they call beautiful anyway, from Washington to New York to California to San Francisco to LA to Boston to Cincinnati to Texas, Arizona, Chicago. They can't imagine these places being destroyed. They can't imagine these places never existed again, but they are. Babylon the Great will go down. The most wickedest empire that the Most High has created will be destroyed by nuclear fire. But right now they can't see it in their hearts because their Christian churches are telling them that the Lord is coming to give them hugs and kisses. But all of that's going to be put to bed. Verse 8. So we're still in the book of Isaiah chapter 13 verse 8. It says, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed at one another. Their faces shall be as flames. So that their faces are going to be as flames. They're going to be amazed. Listen, this is describing to perfection how they're going to react to this thing. They shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. That's a woman that's given birth. That's how much pain and sorrow they're going to be when this destruction comes. They shall be amazed at one another. Their faces shall be as flames. So why are their faces going to be as flames? Because of the nuclear missiles. Remember, Zechariah 14. So we can quickly grab it. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 12. Precept. Listen carefully. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all people that have fought against Jerusalem. Right? Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongues shall consume away in their mouth. So what's going to cause their flesh to consume away, their eyes to consume away in their holes, and their tongue to consume away in their mouth? Nuclear weapons. Conventional weapons don't do that. When they fire conventional weapons to blow up places, as you saw, when that drone fired those missiles on the Taliban that killed that family in Afghanistan the other day before the Americans came out, what did it do? It blew them up. Remember that the survivors of the family said that they found body parts everywhere. There was body parts found everywhere. It didn't consume away their flesh. It didn't consume away their eyes in their holes. It didn't consume away their tongues in their mouth because it wasn't a nuclear weapon. These were conventional bombs. But what's going to cause Zechariah 14 and 12 to come to pass is ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's what's going to cause Zechariah 14 and 12 to come to pass. That's what's going to cause Isaiah 13 and 8 to come to pass, are intercontinental ballistic missiles. So it says, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. Isaiah chapter 13 verse 8. They shall be in pain as a woman in travail. They shall be amazed at one another. Their faces shall be as flames. It's going to be a terrifying day. It says here, behold, verse 9. So Isaiah chapter 13 verse 9, right? Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. So he's coming to lay the land desolate. He's coming to lay Babylon the Great, America, desolate. It's going to become a wasteland, a wilderness. It's going to be inhabited by animals that normally live in the desert, owls and lizards and so forth. It's not going to be inhabited by people again. It's going to be totally destroyed from the face of the earth. It's going to be the greatest memorial to the world, Babylon the Great. It's never going to be inhabited by people again, America. It's going to be the greatest destruction, the fire and brimstone that the world is going to witness is going to be the United States of America. It shall never be inhabited again. I'll go back, verse 9. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 9. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. He's going to make an example of it. It's going to be the greatest memorial that the world has ever seen. Verse 10. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So what's going to cause the sun on a day like this, we've got a bright blue sky that says come back out again, to be darkened? It's going to be the mushroom cloud. The mushroom cloud that you get from a nuclear weapon is going to cause the sun to be darkened. If it happens during the night time and it's a clear sky and we can see the moon, it's going to cause the moon not to give her light. But that's going to take place from a mushroom cloud. A mushroom cloud is what you get from a nuclear weapon. Remember, Isaiah says it rolls out like a scroll. Isaiah chapter 14, chapter 24, I believe. Isaiah 24. Let's see if we can quickly go to that precept there. Isaiah chapter 24. Isaiah, hold on, not 24. Isaiah 34. So Isaiah chapter 34, excuse me, verse 4. It says, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved. From why? From the nuclear destruction. And the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off of their vine, and as a falling fig from a fig tree. So when it says all the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, that's the mushroom cloud that's going to come from the nuclear weapons. When these ICBMs hit their target in America, they're going to form mushroom cloud. That's what's going to cause the sun to be darkened and for the moon to lose her light. And you know the funny thing about it, America has like a three hour time difference across North America. So if it's, for example, if it's 6 a.m. on the East Coast in New York, in California, it's 3 a.m. in the morning. So it makes perfect sense that the moon, the sun, the light can be taken from the sun on the East Coast, while the moon can lose its light on the West Coast. All right? Think about it. If these missiles are fired to the West Coast and the East Coast at the same time. Because on the East Coast, it will be the morning time. The sun is raised, bright blue skies like you see out here today. So it could be a day like this. You see, if you can see the sky. Let's see if I can get to see the sky. See the sky? It could be a day like this, right? Because those dark clouds have just gone away. Where we just had the rain. So it could be a day like this on the East Coast, and on the West Coast, it could be still nighttime. So it makes perfect sense when Isaiah says, We're back. We had a bit of a blip there. The screen went blank there for a few seconds. I think we're back again. Shalom, we're back, yeah. So check this out. What Isaiah is saying, this event can take place on the west coast and the east coast of America at the same time. So when he says, and it will do, because the Russians are not just going to be firing missiles on one part of America. Missiles are going to be fired on the east coast and the west coast at the same time, on both sides of America, at the same time, and the Midwest. They're not just going to target one part of America. They're going to target all of North America at the same time. And remember, the beast is going to fall out with the head of the beast, America. So NATO, the beast, with all the NATO allies in the War of Armageddon are going to fall out with America during this war. So they themselves are going to burn Babylon the Great with fire. Remember, Revelations 17 tells you that, all right? So we go back to Isaiah chapter 13. It says, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light because of the destruction, because of the nuclear weapons, because of the mushroom cloud, right? Shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth. So the sun shall be darkened in its going forth. So when the sun is rising on the east, it shall be darkened and it's going forth. And the moon shall not cause her light, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So the moon will still be out on the west coast. Think about this, because they're 3 hour different time zone. The moon will be out on the west coast. It's 3 o'clock in the morning on the west coast. It's still night time. The moon will be out on the east coast. The sun is starting to rise. So it makes perfect sense that these two events, the moon not giving her light on the west coast, the sun not shining again on the east coast, gets darkened on the east coast, because the missiles are hitting the west coast and the east coast at the same time. Makes perfect sense. It says, and I will, we go to Job. We're going to bring out a precept here before we go on. Job chapter 20. Job chapter 20. Brother Job. See, the sun's come back out again. It was just pouring down with rain. All praises to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rakakadash. It was just pouring down with rain, family. Literally pouring down with rain. Like I said, because I'm under this tree, it stopped me from getting a lot of the rain. Job chapter 20, verse, where do I want to go to? Job chapter 20, verse 22. So listen carefully. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. In the fullness of whose sufficiency? In the fullness of Esau, the Edomite sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Remember, America is Esau's HQ. So that's the HQ for the Edomites, is America. So in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. That's the war. That's the missiles that are going to be fired on him. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. So all of the other nations that were once his allies, all of the other Edomite nations that were once America's allies are going to come against him. When he's about to fill his belly, when he's about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him. So when Esau's about to fill his belly, once this new world order plan is about to, when they feel it's all going to come together, when they're just dotting the I's and crossing the T's, when he's about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So just when he's about to fill his belly, when everything's going to, that's when the War of Armageddon is going to kick off. That's when World War III is going to start. Just when he's about to fill his belly. That's when he's about to dot the I's and cross the T's. Sign the contract and say, yep, it's all done. We're good to go. That's when it's all gonna come to shit. That's when the nations are gonna go to war. That's when the Russians are gonna say, well, enough. And then they're going to ally with all of those allies that the book of Ezekiel speaks about in 38. The Persians, the Libyans, Gog and Magog, Gomar and Togomar, the Russians and the Turks, the Iranians, the Ethiopians, the Eritreans, the Libyans. We're all going to come together collectively. And we also believe that the Chinese are going to be part of that collective allied group that's going to come against America. See, right now, you see China is testing America by flying planes over Taiwan. Remember, China still considers Taiwan as part of its country. But America has been selling Taiwan arms, has been arming them with all sorts of weapons. And that's infuriated the Chinese. So yesterday, over the weekend, yesterday, Saturday and Friday, the Chinese Air Force flew 38 fighter jets over Taiwan's airspace, or what Taiwan considers their airspace, to see if they were going to react, to see if they were going to try something. But they didn't try nothing. All they was doing was putting out messages to the Chinese pilots to say you're flying over our airspace and that. But China considers Taiwan as their country, just like how they consider Hong Kong their country. And the Americans are the ones that are arming Taiwan. So that's infuriated the Chinese. So we see many things that the Americans have done to infuriate the Chinese, which leads us to believe that the Chinese are going to become part of that coalition that's going to come against America in the War of Armageddon in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, where it all starts, right? So let's go back to Isaiah 13. Oh no, let's go back to Job. Finish off from Job first. So Job chapter 20, verse 22. Verse 23. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. So what is the iron weapon that the Americans are going to try to flee from, and the bow of steel that's going to strike him through? ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. These are the iron weapon and the bow of steel. I say again, Job chapter 20, verse 24. He, America, the Edomites, shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. The bow of steel is your nuclear weapons, your nuclear missiles. Those are the iron weapons that's going to be fired upon the United States. And remember, these Edomites are going to be firing it on each other. America are going to retaliate. They're going to fire weapons, nuclear weapons back on Europe. They're going to fire nuclear weapons back on the United Kingdom. They're going to fire nuclear weapons back on the Russians. So they're going to retaliate. But what we have to understand, the countries that are going to be the cornerstone of this war are all of the European countries. The Eastern European, the Western European, the Edomites, because they're the ones that possess the nuclear weapons. Outside of them, you've got who? Pakistan has nuclear weapons, China has nuclear weapons, India has nuclear weapons, and North Korea has nuclear weapons. So the bow of steel, the iron weapon that they're going to be fleeing from, that's going to be fired on these Edomites, that's going to be fired on America, is your intercontinental ballistic missiles. So Job also prophesies about the War of Armageddon, about the nuclear destruction, about how Esau, Edom's kingdom is going to be taken down. It's amazing, isn't it? No one ever lied. There's not a single, well, there were some clouds in the sky, but the sky had gone completely blue. It was just total grey. The rain was falling like mad, as you saw, the wind was blowing like mad. But now we're back to all praises to Yahweh Bashim, Yahushua Bashim, Makakadash. We're doing the work, we're doing the work. So he's giving us the path to do it now. He slowed down the winds, the Lord has slowed down the wind. It was blowing like mad. I don't mean to go to, but it was blowing like mad, the wind that hit earlier. It was even blowing down the sign. I had to hold up the sign. It was blowing down the sign. And I put this heavy Bible on it. It's, what do you call it? The Interlinear Bible, Greek Hebrew, Greek, and English. I put it on it to weigh it down so it doesn't move, because I knew it was going to be a bit windy today. So now the wind has completely stopped. Completely stopped. The rain has completely stopped. Crazy. But it's not crazy. I give all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Change up the whole program out here now. All praises. So let's go back up. Let me just do this 1 second. Let's get it to dry off a bit. Salaki. So, Job said, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. That bow of steel, the iron weapon, as I said, is your nuclear weapons. Back to Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 11. It says, and I will punish the world for their evil. So the Most High is coming to punish the world for their evil, right? And the wicked for their iniquity. So who are the wicked? The wicked are the Edomites. He's coming to punish the world for their evil, because the world is just completely swarmed with evil. But the majority of the people have just accepted how we're living today. They'll go into their churches on a Sunday, but they don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe in the judgment. They don't want to see anyone to be judged. They don't want anyone to die. No one to be punished. Please don't punish me, Lord. Please don't kill me, Lord. Please don't judge me, Lord. They just want to be forgiven. But yet they want to continue with all of this wickedness and evil that this world is perpetrating. They want to continue supporting it and being part of it and uplifting it. They don't want to see it come down. They don't want to see this society, how it's being ruled under the Edomites, to be taken down. They don't want to see a righteous society put in place. You got to remember, this world is literally ruled by between the Amalekites, the so-called Jews, and the LGBTQ. Between those two entities, they rule the world. The Amalekites are the head Edomite tribe. They're the greatest pushers of the LGBTQ program. So they don't want to see, because there's going to be so much judgment, so much. You see, the greatest thing for Israel and for the Israelites, for the 12 tribes, is that those of us that have come back to this truth, that have accepted this truth, will be delivered out of the destruction. Those of us that have repented of Israel, of the 12 tribes, we call ourselves the hopeful elect, will be delivered. Those of the wicked Israelites that continue to uplift this society will be destroyed alongside the wicked. Who are the wicked? Esau, Edom, the Edomites. So the scripture says, again, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 11. It says, and I will punish the world for their evil. The Most High is coming to punish the world for the wickedness, the corruption, the hypocrisy, the murder, the pillage, the rape, the destruction. He's coming to punish the world for their evil. And the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of what? Of the proud to cease. And will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. So the arrogancy of the proud. Who is the most proudest nation on this planet? The United States of America. They're the most proudest nation on this planet. I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. He's coming to crush that nation. Totally make an example out of it for the whole world to see. Then he's coming to judge the other nations. But America, because America's the pinnacle for all of the countries around the world, it's the shining light. Everyone looks up to that place. The Most High is going to destroy it with nuclear fire, and he's going to use Esau himself to destroy that place. Then he's going to send his angels to finish it off alongside his son, Yahushua. But he's going to make an example of it, because right now the whole world worships America. It says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold. So when it says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, that's talking about the Israelite, the men of Israel. And in particular, the men of Israel that are preaching this word on the highways and byways and then the different streaming platforms in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Those men who hopefully will make up part of the 144,000, which are the 12,000 from the 12 different tribes of Israel. It's going to make you more finer than gold. We are going to be worshipped if we make that lot, if we make it. Remember, we call ourselves the hopeful elect, because no one knows who's going to receive salvation out of Israel until the day of judgment. But we will continue doing our deeds and our work until that day comes. Simple as that. Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir, right? Therefore, listen carefully, America. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. I'm going to shake the heavens and the earth, and shall remove her, America, right? From the place, from out of her place, in the wrath of the Lord of hosts. So how is he going to shake the heavens and the earth? He's going to shake the heavens and the earth via the nuclear weapons. The same nuclear weapons that they say they're making it in defense of themselves, and what they're going to use against their fellow allies, and it's going to be used against them. The Lord is going to shake the heaven and earths through nuclear destruction. That's how he's going to do it. America, Babylon the Great, is going to be shaken. It's going to be, you see, it's going to be the most televised event ever. I was reading the other day, and they said the most watched televised event ever was the marriage of, that wind is coming from there. See that? It said here, the most watched televised event, right? I was looking at the other day, was the marriage of Princess Diana and Prince Charles. That was the most televised watched event ever. But let me tell you, the destruction of Babylon the Great, the destruction of America, is going to be the most televised watched event ever, because the whole world, just like how the whole world was watching when they invaded Iraq, they called it shock and awe. George Bush called it shock and awe. And they went into Iraq in the middle of the night, and they was firing missiles on Iraq, and everyone was watching it on CNN and NBC and BBC and Channel 4 News, and everyone was watching it. Well, let me tell you, this ensuing war, the destruction of the United States of America, is going to be witnessed by the whole world, because the whole world is going to be involved in the war, and all of these nuclear armed countries are going to be involved in the destruction of America. Why? Because the Most High is going to put the spirit on them to fire their weapons on America. So it says here, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, in the day of his fierce anger. Let's go for a precept. Isaiah chapter 24 verse 20. In the day of his fierce anger is going to be the destruction of America. Isaiah chapter 24 verse 20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunken, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgressions thereof shall be heavy upon it, because the transgressions of this earth is heavy. We can't wait to get up out of this place. We can't wait for the Lord to come to deliver the elect. We can't wait for us to get out of these bodies that we get sick and ill in all the time. We can't wait to get out from underneath the boot of Esau. We can't wait to receive immortality and spiritual powers and rulership. We can't wait to put this man, these Edomites, into captivity. We cannot wait. It says the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. That's because when the nuclear weapons are going to be fired in the different places around the world, not just on America, but around the world, remember what I said, other countries will be hit by nuclear weapons. Will be hit by nuclear weapons. So what's going to cause the landmass to move out of its place? Only a nuclear weapon can do that. Apart from that, an earthquake. If there's an earthquake, if the Lord send one of his angels to shift the tectonic plates to cause an earthquake, or from a volcano erupting, the landmass of the earth can move to and fro. But otherwise from that, the only type of weapon that can do that are ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Those are the only kind of weapons that can cause the earth to move to and fro, are nuclear weapons, nothing else. So it says, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgressions thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall, and none shall rise again. Because this is when the house of Israel come into rulership. None of these nations, these powers are going to rise again. There's no more going to be no American Empire, British Empire, Spanish Empire, French Empire. There's no more going to be no Germania Minor, Germania Major. They're all going to be taken down. Every one of these empires. Just so you understand. Right, verse 21. Isaiah chapter 24, verse 21. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. He's coming to punish the elites, the super elites. He's coming to punish your kings and queens, your prime ministers, your presidents, your billionaires, your multimillionaires, right? Your trillionaires. He's coming to punish all of the high ones and high. Why? Because those are the first people that are going to go into captivity. All of the elites and the super elites of all the other nations, all of your high ones, all of your kings, your nobles, all of those are going to be the first people that are going to go into captivity, into slavery, into the kingdom of heaven that's coming to earth. Remember, the Lord is coming to make these people handmaids and servants and slaves in the kingdom of heaven that's coming to earth. And the first ones that are going to be punished, the first ones that are going to go into hardcore slavery are the high ones, the nobles. And it's going to be the high ones and the nobles of the Edomites first, then the high ones and the nobles and your kings and your elites and your super elites of all the other nations after Esau. But they're going to be the first set of people, they're going to be the first slaves in the kingdom. Those that are sitting high. Your Jeff Bezos, your Elon Musk. They're going to be your first slaves. Your Prince Charles, your Prince Andrews, your Prince Edwards. And if that old batch is still alive, the Queen, they're going to be the first slaves. They're going to be the first slaves in the kingdom of heaven. Are your high ones and your nobles, the elites of Esau, then the elites of the other nations. You see, lower down than what we call like the lesser Illuminatis, right? And the lower level Illuminatis and the average John Does, they're going to come later. They're going to be gathered into slavery later. But the high ones, the nobles, those that are pulling the strings, those that sit around the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the JP Morgans, those are going to be the first slaves in the kingdom of heaven. The first slaves are going to be your nobles and your princes. I say again, and it shall come to pass, Isaiah chapter 24, verse 21, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and they shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days they shall be visited. So they're going to be gathered together, put in prisons, in pits. Then we're going to take them and we're going to allocate where they're going to go, who they're going to serve in the kingdom, whose slave they're going to be. But they're going to have to serve as slaves in the kingdom. The nobles, the princes, the kings, the elites, the super elites, all of those that run this kingdom today, and all of those that are allied and associated with the Edomites that run this world today, they're going to be the first slaves in the kingdom of heaven. All of them. All of your high ones. So says the scripture. So says Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai. Let's go back to verse 13. Chapter 13, sorry. So we're back in Isaiah, because we're going to go through Isaiah, finish chapter 13. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 13. Right? Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger, the war of Armageddon. And it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone to his own land. Because they're going to be trying to escape the destruction, but they're not going to get out of there. Because you got to remember, the first thing these Yanks will do, they will close down all airspace, just like 9/11. Once those sirens are going off and they know the missiles are coming to America, you're going to see people rushing and flood into the airport, rushing to the coast, trying to get on ships and boats and trying to get out of there. But they're going to shut down, the government's going to shut down all airspace, they're going to shut down all the coastline, nothing. You're all going to have to bear the brunt of it. And the only ones that are going to survive that are the elect of Israel, the elect of the 12 tribes of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar. Only the elect are going to survive it. Only the elect. And the high ones and the nobles and the kings, they will survive because they will be in their bunkers. Or as a matter of fact, the majority of them are going to have left the country already. They would have left the country already. They know, they're going to know when this shit's going to take place. They're going to be inside their bunkers and in their safe places in Switzerland. You know, Switzerland always plays this neutral thing in wars. Oh, we're so neutral, Switzerland. One of the wickedest places on this planet is Switzerland. That's where all of these nobles and kings and high ones and multimillionaires and billionaires and trillionaires, that's where most of them store their money, in Switzerland. Their stolen loot is in Switzerland. So most of the majority of these high ones and nobles and kings in America and elites and super elites are going to already have left America. They've already set up shop in Europe, in Switzerland, or in Sweden, or in some place in Europe, or some fancy island of the West Indies. Because they know America is finished. They understand that. They know its end is there. Why? Because they are playing a part in destroying America, in bringing it to a close. So they understand that. They know it's finished. Says verse 14. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 14. The ambulance go fast. It says, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 14. Everyone that is found, and it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. And they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone to his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through. Everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Everyone that's joined unto these Edomites shall fall by the sword. So all of those wicked Israelites that continue associating themselves with Esau, Edom, that believe that they can be saved or keep trying to save them. Every time you talk about salvation, the first people they want to save are the Edomites. Every one of Israel that's joined unto them shall be thrust through with the sword. And we understand and we know that the only people that are going to be joined unto them are going to be what? The wicked 2/3 of Israel. Remember the scripture says, right? Is it Proverbs? Let's see if I can quickly find it. The scripture says, Proverbs. Hold on. 16. The precept I'm thinking of. Hold on. I got it, yeah. All praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. I got it. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21. Though hand join in hand, the wicked, listen carefully, shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. So, in Proverbs here, the Lord is telling Solomon the same thing that the Lord has told Isaiah in Isaiah chapter 13. So let's read the precept again. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. So the wicked are who? The Edomites. So they'll hand join in hand. So all of the wicked Israelites that want to join hand with these Edomites and trying to save them, they're not going to go unpunished. But the righteous shall be delivered. Who are the righteous? The righteous are what we call the hopeful elect. The hopeful elect of Israel. That's who the righteous is. Right? But the righteous shall what? Shall be delivered. Delivered out of what? Delivered out of the destruction. The war of Armageddon. Delivered out of the mayhem that's going to come upon the whole world. The righteous are who? The elect. The chosen of Israel. So when we go back to Isaiah chapter 13, and it says, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through. And we just read that, right? Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. Everyone that shall be found shall be thrust through. And everyone that is joined unto them, every Israelite that is joined unto these Edomites, trying to save them, even now, everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So, we read the precept, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. Though Israelite join hand with the Edomites, trying to save them, the wicked, which are the Edomites, shall not go unpunished. So, verse 16, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 16. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes, and their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. So their children are going to be dashed to pieces before their eyes. They're going to watch it. They're going to experience the death and destruction of their children. Right? Their houses shall be spoiled. They're going to experience their houses being robbed and rooted and taken down because there's going to be so much mayhem. You see, all normality is going to go out the window. Once those sirens go off in America, once they hear it go, boo, you know when they got the sirens that go off to alert you about bombs that are coming and dropping an invasion, once they go off, all normality is going to go out the window. So their houses will be spoiled because there's going to be a ration. There's not going to be, your truck driver ain't going to be driving and delivering food to your supermarket during the war no more. They're not going to be delivering gasoline to the petrol station no more. They're not going to be going into the fields to harvest the fruits no more. There's going to be every man for himself. America is a country that's raised on the philosophy of every man for itself. So when all hell breaks loose, it's just going to intensify. Every man for himself. Every man for himself. So it says, verse 16, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 16. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes, right? They're going to see so much death. They're going to experience the death of their children. Just like how they show you on telly the death of other children in other countries when they're bombing them, when America's bombing them with their drones, and they say, oh, it's an apology, oh, we were sorry, oh, we killed 7 children in that country, oh, it's an apology. Well, America's going to experience the death of their children, and their parents are going to experience watching that. Just like how they watch it on CNN today and NBC News, and they see in Afghanistan and Iraq and, you know, Sudan and all these other countries, and they're watching how America's took drones there and soldiers there, and oh, it's just another news story. How they've killed this children or that family and this and that. Oh. They are going to experience. That wind is blowing heavy today. Really heavy today, that wind coming. See that? That's why I put that, I keep saying that's why I put that book on there, boy, because that wind is blowing heavy today. Let's hold it down. Make sure that's going on. Yeah, we're good to go. Yeah, it's blowing very heavy today, that wind. So their children are going to experience the death. Their children are going to experience all of that. What they see, what they show other nations about their countries on their telly, when they say, oh, well, we apologize for killing 7 children when they left Afghanistan. What was their last thing that they did, the Americans? They wiped out a whole family with a drone strike, claiming that they were looking for so-called terrorists. They killed 7 children and the mum and the dad and an uncle. And they just gave them an apology. So they're going to experience that. The same things that they do, they're going to experience it. They're going to experience their children's death in front of them. It's going to be total mayhem. Total mayhem. Oh, easy. It's very heavy today. Go back to Isaiah. Where is it? 13. And then we're going to witness it on telly. Right, so go back to Isaiah chapter 13, verse 16. Their children shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravished. It's going to be mayhem. Mayhem. What comes into mind is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 16. It's going to be total mayhem. Total mayhem. Low battery. Okay, we're all good. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Total mayhem. Verse 17. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. So who are the Medes? The Medes are who? The Russians. The Most High is going to stir up the Russians to bring this war against Babylon the Great, against America. It's the Russians. The Russians occupy a land that was once upon a time occupied by the Medes. Not all of Russia was occupied by the Medes, but parts of it was. So when the scripture says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, the Lord is going to stir up the Russians. He's going to put a spirit on the Russian, on that terrible nation of the north, to come up against America. This is how, remember I said, it all's going to start in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. That's where the whole war is going to start, in the Middle East, before it escalates to a global war that's going to involve nuclear weapons. It's going to start in the Middle East. So when he says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, those are the Russians, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So they're not going to regard silver or gold. They're not going to care about the money system. They're not going to care. You see, you're going to see players that are going to come into this thing. Right, maybe we can pay them off to shut them down. Maybe we can pay off the Russians and they won't fire. They won't come up against us. It's not going to happen. They're not going to regard silver and gold. They're not going to care about the money system, the exchange market. They're not going to care if when the dollar collapses. They're not going to give a shit. Because before this war takes place, the US dollar will have collapsed. Before this war takes place, the money system will have collapsed. By that time, we will be using a digital currency that will have very little value. So many people are going to lose their wealth when the whole money system collapses. When the whole world goes digital, many people are going to lose their wealth. So by that time, we will no longer have what we call fiat money. It's going to have been done away with. Everyone's going to be using what they call CBDC, central bank digital currencies. They're all working on their own digital currencies. So the whole money system will have lost its value. So when it says that the Russians are not going to regard silver or gold, because they would have seen that the whole money system has lost its value. You're not going to be able to pay them off in any way. When they take up their arms to go to war, that's it. Game over. Verse 17. So it says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young man to pieces. So what are the bows that the Russians, that the Medes are going to fire against America, Babylon the Great? The bows are their nuclear weapons. Their bows is where the weapons come out, what they call the silo. They have a silo where their weapons come out of. So it says, their bows also shall dash the young man to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children. So they're not going to give a damn for pregnant women. Women that have got newly born babies carrying around or pushing around their prams. They're not going to give a damn. They're going to fire these weapons on America, and they're not going to give a damn. Their bows shall dash the young man to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. And their eye shall not spare children. America's never spared children when they fired their drones with their weapons. They always call it collateral damage. Oh, then they say, oh, the terrorists were hiding with families in their family house, so we had no choice but to kill them. They've had no pity on children when they're killing them in these foreign wars. They had no pity on the kids when they put sanctions on countries that cause millions and hundreds of thousands of children to die because they can't get the right medical attention or they can't get the right food. They've had no pity. So when the Russians fire these nuclear weapons on America, they're not going to have any pity on their young ones, on their children. They don't give a damn. It's all going to go down. It's going to be like they say, like for like. You know, when you buy something and you break it and it stops working, and you bring it back to the shop and they say, all right, we're going to give you like for like. Well, the Russians are going to give the Americans like for like. Just like how the Americans kill children abroad, the Russians are going to kill their children in that war. They're not going to have any pity on them in the war of Armageddon. So, go back to verse 18. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 18. Their bows also shall dash the young man to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children. And Babylon, America, the United States of America, and Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans represent the wise men of today. So they're elites, they're super elites, the Illuminatis, the enlightened ones, right? And Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans, excellency, shall be as when God, the Most High, Yahweh, overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So we know ancient Babylon is not like Sodom and Gomorrah, because Sodom and Gomorrah was never inhabited again after its destruction. Ancient Babylon is where? Today that we call Iraq. Right? That's ancient Babylon, where Nineveh used to be. Right? That's ancient Babylon. Iraq is a fully inhabited country, and so is literally most of the Middle East. So we know this can never be talking about ancient Babylon, because ancient Babylon was never overthrown like Sodom and Gomorrah. So when Isaiah says this place of the future that's going to be destroyed, right, by nuclear weapons, by the weapons of iron weapons and the bow of steel, it's never going to be inhabited again. It's going to become like Sodom and Gomorrah. So that tells you again, this is talking about a place in the future, which is the United States of America. So it says, and Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans. The beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never, I just got to keep on reading, right? Really, right? It shall never be inhabited. So it could never be talking about ancient Babylon, because ancient Babylon is today modern Iraq. So the prophecy says, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch their tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their folds there. There are many Arabians in modern Babylon. There are many Arabs that pitch their tent in modern Babylon today, that run all those corner shops in the hood all throughout, that run all of those hot dog selling vans that they have up in the city in Manhattan, all those places. There's many Arabians that have pitched their tent in modern Babylon, but in this Babylon that's going to be destroyed, it's never going to be inhabited again. Ancient Babylon, the Arabians are all over ancient Babylon. The Arabs are all over Iraq. The Arabs have pitched their tent all over Iraq. So we know it's not talking about Iraq. It shall never be inhabited again, right? But verse 21, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 21. But the wild beasts, but the wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and the owls shall dwell there, and the satyrs shall dance there, and the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, because it's going to become a desolation. It's going to be inhabited by animals of the desert. It says, and the wild beasts of the animals shall cry in their desolate houses, and the dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come. So America's destruction is near to come. Her time is near to come. It's like a ticking time clock. It's like a ticking time bomb. For her time is near to come. All right? And her days shall not be prolonged. So America's destruction is near to come. We're that close for this war to take place. And her days shall not be prolonged. Why? Because there's only two major prophecies left for America to instill, for these elites and these Edomites to instill. One is the mark of the beast, and the other is what? The war of Armageddon. That's going to bring on this destruction. So it says, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. And we know that, right? Her days shall not be prolonged, because her destruction is going to take 1 hour. Babylon the Great shall be destroyed in 1 hour. Revelation chapter 18, verse 10, verse 9. It says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, which is the United States of America, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So, what type of weapons will take 1 hour to destroy the whole continent of North America? ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear missiles. For in 1 hour is thy judgment come. It's going to take 1 hour to destroy America. And remember, the Lord himself is going to play the final part of the destruction of America. So, our wind is starting to come out heavy again. The grey cows are starting to cover up me again. So on that note, I pray that this was an edifying lesson to all of the Akiams and Akwas, all of the brothers and sisters of the hopeful elect of the house of Israel. I pray this was an edifying lesson. Until we meet again, Lord willing, as we always say, we give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah, Kodash, and double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who are leading this word in truth, in spirit and sincerity. And until we meet again, family, shalom, shalom, shalom. And as we always say, as we know, these prophecies must be fulfilled. So says the Lord. Shalom, 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 family. All praises.